welcome to Real to Real Talk. I am your host, Paul Britton. Uh, I'm only doing two movies this week because one of them is the first big one. We have the first big movie of the year where it's like, oh wow, this movie is fantastic. It was meant to be fantastic. It's meant to be seen in the theaters. It must be seen in the theaters. It's the first movie I've seen this year where I'm like, oh, this needs to be nominated for multiple Academy Awards. That's about on track. March, April. Usually we get one in March. I would say that we're a little behind this year, but that's okay. As long as we get our first big one, sometime before the summer movies kick in, I think we're okay. And the movie I'm talking about is Ryan Coogler's Sinners. And this is a movie that is, uh, you know, let's just give the background. So Ryan Coogler, director of first Fruitvale Station, and then he was pegged to write and direct Creed, and then he wrote and directed the sequel, and then the two Black Panther movies. And that's what he's done. I mean, he doesn't have a huge filmography yet, and it feels like, wow, those are movies that have come out like, every 3 or 4 years. And the answer to that statement is that is correct. He makes a movie every 3 or 4 years. This is in contrast to Steven Soderbergh, who this year had 2 movies come out already. One of which was good and one of which I loved, Black Bag. So, some guys work and some guys just create something really special. And that's what, and Ryan Coogler tries to create something really special. And what he has done here with Sinners is just that. So, the story on this one, Michael B. Jordan plays 2 roles. Is that an overdone thing in movies? Yes, it is. He's playing twins. The Smokestack twins, Smoke and Stack. Those are their nicknames, their monikers, and you very briefly hear them called throughout the movie by their real names. And I would have had to write it down, like it's that brief. IMDb credits them as Smoke and Stack. And so the Smokestack twins have left rural Mississippi first to go fight in World War I, and then to live and work in the underworld of Chicago. The sort of the urban legend in their small hometown is that they work for Al Capone. So this is taking place in I'm gonna say 1934. It might have been 1932, but so we find out that this movie is a movie in 3 acts that is perfect. And that's really something that I like with movies. So like, I'm a sucker for that. I'm a sucker for movies that have a first act that is a clearly defined first act, and the first act ends. And then it has a second act, and it's a clearly defined second act, and then the second act ends. And then there's a third act. And this movie does that. And so, automatically you just give me excellent three act structure that is delineated and obvious. There's just something about that whatever neurodivergent thing I have makes me like that kind of structure. That's what it is. So but so the 3 acts in this movie. First, we're introduced to the Smokestack brothers and the town that this town in Mississippi that they grew up in, and that they have purchased an old slaughterhouse that they are going to use that they are going to convert to a juke joint. And they have a truck full of liquor, and they're going around town and gathering up the various people they're going to need to have a successful juke joint, including their young cousin, who is the son of a preacher. His nickname, he's Sam, but his nickname is Preacher Boy throughout the town, and he's really good at playing blues guitar. And they have to pick up somebody to play the piano, obviously, played amazingly by oh shoot, I don't want to mess up his name. So Delroy Lindo. Delroy Lindo. He's in so many amazing movies, and he's always just fantastic. And and then and then they need their bouncer, and so they pick up a bouncer, and then they need somebody to kind of cook their food, and that turns out to be Smoke's ex-wife, maybe somebody who Smoke has a past with, and also they had a child who died at some point, and so there's depth there. We're also meeting people throughout the town. Haley Seinfeld plays somebody who Stack has a past with, and who the past is a little more even more complicated, maybe, or not more complicated in depth, but certainly more contentious than Smoke's past. And it's just, we're hopping around and we're picking up people, like we're getting the band back together. It's basically the first act of the Blues Brothers. I mean, that's literally what it is. And it's about the blues. And the character development and the world development here is amazing. Threaded throughout is that there is a stranger in town who has been chased into the outskirts of the town, into a small farmhouse there, by some Comanche, maybe. They say Comanche. It might have been Comanche. It might have been some other tribe. But bottom line is that it turns out he's a vampire, and he converts the two farmers. That's going to appear later. Very minor, just really just kind of setting the stage for these characters, and done extremely well. And then we and then they arrive at the juke joint. They're ready to go. Second act is the the big night, and so it's very much it's Delroy Lindo playing piano. I obviously he's not playing piano, but whatever. Just a lot of music, a lot of the Smokestack Brothers just weaving in and out of the crowd as they're running what's going on, and the various things that are going on, and everybody having a good time. Preacher Boy playing guitar, getting involved with a woman at the same time, and just so much goes on during this time frame. Oh, by the way, the vampire and his two converted show up, try to get invited into the juke joint, are rebuffed because they're white. And so this is like, I mean, this is clearly like, hey, we're drawing a line here, and just politely, you're in the wrong place. And it's the one aspect that, if somebody said, oh, this part lost me, I get it. But there is a sort of a supernatural beyond the vampires aspect of what's going on. And that is that they establish, the opening scene, opening segment of the movie. It's not even really a scene. It's more an animated portion, where is that throughout cultures, throughout the world, throughout history, there have been people who are so connected with music that they can actually change the way people feel, and bring back and recall their people's the ancestors of the music that they're playing, and the future of the music they were playing. And so there's one, heavy guitar segment where Preacher Boy like starts doing that, and like all of these cultural musical influences throughout history start popping up throughout the crowd. I really liked it. It worked for me. I if it didn't work for somebody, I'd get it. It's very, very different from everything else that's going on in the movie. However, it hits the themes of this is the cultural impact of music so hard and so heavy that leading up into the third act, it's really important. And also the fact that Preacher Boy has this ability is important because they had established that that this power brings out the best of people, but it also attracts evil. And so that's you kind of understand that's why the vampires are there. And then and look, the third act is just straight up a vampire movie, people trying to survive the onslaught of the vampires. And that's and that's it. That's the movie. And here's the things that I will say. A lesser movie would make this a very flimsy and obvious, like, white people circumventing culture, and the it's middle of Jim Crow the South, and just flimsy, like, oh, the vampires are the white people, and this movie does not do that at all. Like at all. Like, oh, the vampire is a rich, aristocrat. Is a rich aristocrat, former plantation owner who's now coming to, get revenge, or like just flimsy. This is not that at all. In fact, the depth of this movie is that the vampire, we find out, is from Ireland, and he's like a poor guy from Ireland, and he's just trying to reconnect with his ancestors, and he knows that that's something Preacher Boy can help him with. And it's really you understand the message of the movie, and you understand the importance of race relations, and you understand the importance of these folks being able to have some semblance of freedom without really having any freedom at all, but at the very least the freedom to have their have their cultural awakening, and their ability to express their cultural history through blues music. And it's beautiful. Like the first, and the way they develop the Smokestack Brothers and their relationships is amazing. The kid who plays Preacher Boy, this is his first ever movie. Miles Catton is his name. And it's remarkable. Like he's not in anything like before this, and it's like, are you kidding me? And I don't understand it, and how he could be this good. His voice is, I swear to God, just like possibly one of the best voices in Hollywood right now. And he's, hold on, let me get his age here. Born, and I should have had this, but that's all right. You guys are my friends. You can wait for 1 second. Oh, come on, IMDb, you failed me. I mean, he can't be more than like 22, 23, 24, somewhere around there. Young kid, just liquid silk voice, as deep as the Mariana Trench. That's his voice. Like, and it's just like, holy shit. And he absolutely owns the screen when he's on, and he absolutely stands up Michael B. Jordan, playing two different characters, and is just like I'm rolling with this, and I am going to understand that these are two different people, and I have to react differently to each of them because they have their own personalities. Fantastic. Um, and you know, it's interesting because like I feel like it's impossible to watch this movie and not love the first act. Like if you watch the movie and you're like, oh, I was bored in the first act, I'm like, you didn't watch the movie, like you were doing something else. The first act is so gripping and so fascinating, and so does such a wonderful job of building relationship, building characters, building the world. It's so good. And then the second act, as long as you buy into even if you don't buy into what's going on with the power of the music, even if you don't buy into that aspect of it, it's so good that it's just like, I'm here for the history of everything. And it's just, you know, the third act, if you tell me, hey, look, I'm not into vampires, I can't fault you if you're just like, and so it lost me for the third act. But I genuinely believe that the first two acts are so good that you're just going to accept that what's going on isn't necessarily vampires, but it is something just bigger and better and more interesting than that. Because that's how it feels. Like that's just how it feels. And plus, like the tail end of the third act, when like once the sun comes up, there's just a little bit more, and the just a little bit more is like just the cherry on the top. And then once the credits roll, we are introduced to we're introduced to Sam in 1992, and he's playing he's playing blues he's playing blues where in a club, and he's apparently a famous blues guy, and but it's it's impactful. It's an impactful scene. And then we learn Buddy Guy, but Buddy Guy plays old Sam. And there's a moment there, like there's a so there like there's there's a coda in that, and the coda is like, yes, this is what I want from a movie. And that's just what this is. This movie is just, if you ask me, hey, pick Black Bag or this to watch again, I'm probably watching Black Bag, but I'm just going to flat out say I understand Sinners is a better movie. Here at Real to Real Talk, we do not do stars. We do tacos because they're delicious. And if we feel like something deserves a little bit extra, instead of doing like a half a taco, like a half a star, what we'll do is we'll add guac. Why? Because nobody eats half a fucking taco. So look, 5+ guac. This is a 5+ guac movie. It's if you wanted to knock out a taco because the vampire stuff didn't meet up with everything that happened in the first two acts, I'm not going to fault you. If you wanted to do the same thing just because the sort of like the supernatural part that happens in Act 2 doesn't really work for you, I'm not blaming you. But if you could, anybody who says, "Oh, this movie is four tacos or less than 4 tacos," they're I don't want to hear it. Like that's just like I am devaluing your opinion, because this movie is so friggin' good. It's so friggin' good. You can be mad at me for not knowing who Buddy Guy is, and I understand that. But go away. Okay. Next up, super quick. It's streaming on Prime. Came out last week. Not like as in like less than a week ago, but like a little more than a week ago. But I did 4 movies that week. I wasn't going to get to it, so I knew I was only going to be doing Sinners, so I would have the time. Anyway, point being, I watched G20 streaming on Prime, starring Viola Davis as the president who goes to the G20 goes to the G20 conference, plans on has an economic plan that will eradicate hunger in the world, like that using cryptocurrency. And guess what? People don't like that idea, and so the power, the negative fascist powers that be, go to destroy the G20 summit. And Viola Davis, who was a former army whatever, who got famous for saving a kid in Fallujah, in Fallujah, and has to save her plan and everybody else at the G20 summit. It's exactly what it is, except it has Viola Davis in it. And because it's exactly what it is, which is kind of ridiculous, but an action movie with Viola Davis, I'm giving it 3 tacos. And that's all, that's all I have to say about that. I'm Forrest Gump on this. It's a 3 taco movie. You don't like it, give it 2 tacos plus guac, or 2 tacos if you think it's actually flimsy and bad. It's a harmless 3 taco movie. They're not the best tacos you've ever had. You probably wish they had more, meat or more cheese in there, but hey, it was a cheap 3 tacos, and so you're just gonna be fine with it. That's all I got for you this week here at Real Talk. Accountant 2 comes out next week. So that's the one we'll be doing next week. But hey, once again, I am your host, Paul Britton. Those are my takes on Sinners and G20. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to go see movies, especially go